Hello students, welcome back to lecture 5 on light reflection and refraction. In this lecture, I am going to cover 4 topics, that is uses of concave mirrors, uses of convex mirrors, sign convention for reflection by spherical mirrors, mirror formula and magnification. So you can observe here we have shown a torchlight here. So obviously you can think that it is used in torchlight. What is the purpose? We will see now. So concave mirrors are commonly used in torches. I think you have seen torches in your house. So we use torches for parallel beam of light or headlight of the vehicles. If you see, they must produce a parallel beam, a long parallel beam. For that purpose, we use concave mirrors. So if you observe in this diagram, so the so many lines are passing through the focus and they are coming parallel out of that. So we already studied this in our ray diagrams. Any ray which passes through the focus will reflect parallel to the principal axis. So it comes parallelly. So one more use is, so we can use it for a shaving mirror. Okay. So they are often used as shaving mirrors to see a large image of face. So whenever you want to shave, you want to see a bigger image. So that time you can use concave mirror. So concave mirrors are commonly used in torches, searchlights and vehicles headlights to get powerful parallel beam of light. And one more use is they are often used as shaving mirrors to see a large image of face. The dentist used for concave mirrors to see large images of teeth of patients. So you can observe in the diagram, whenever they want to examine teeth, any problems in the teeth, they will use a concave mirror to enlarge the image of the teeth and they will check whether the teeth is having problem or whatever it is. So dentist can study the structure of the teeth and all by using this concave mirrors because it produces a larger image. Okay, in the sixth case, as I told you. One more thing is, this is furnace, actually solar furnace. The large concave mirrors are used to concentrate sunlight to produce heat in a solar furnace. So here if you observe, any rays which comes parallel to the principal axis will pass through focus. So all the point where the focus is there more amount of heat is generated. So all the rays are collected there. So here in this one, the building shape itself is made such that all the light rays will come hit parallel to that and comes to reflects back to the point called focus. So wherever they want the heat, that point where they will make it as a focus and they can utilize that as a furnace. Okay. So next we will go to uses of convex mirrors. This you have seen in daily life. So convex mirrors are commonly used as rear view mirrors in your vehicles. These mirrors are fitted on the sides of the vehicle. So I think you have seen in cars or in bikes, even in big trucks, buses and all, we will obviously have rear view mirrors. Depending on the vehicle size, the mirror size will also vary, right? Convex mirrors are preferred because they always give an erect image. It means it will not give an inverted image. If at all, if a person who is driving he sees inverted image, he may get confused, right? He will get confused. So convex mirrors will anyway produce erect images, though diminished image, that is not a problem, but he can see that vehicle is coming. That is what is the purpose. So that is served by using convex mirrors. That is fine. Okay. Also they have wider field of view as they are curved outward. So as they are curved outward, it can cover most of the light. So it can cover most of the image, most of the area of the area they can cover inside the image. Okay. Now let us see about sign convention for reflection by spherical mirrors. While dealing with the reflection of light by spherical mirrors, we shall follow some set of sign convention is called the new Cartesian sign convention. So whether to take the value as positive or negative, that will be decided by sign convention. In this convention, pole is taken as the origin. Okay. So in Cartesian axis, Cartesian sign convention, Cartesian axis, you know, x-axis, y-axis, and the pole O, all this you know, right? The same thing we are going to use here, but here we use a pole as a origin, and principal axis is taken as x and x dash axis of the coordinate system. You can observe the diagram here and you can understand the sign conventions. The sign conventions are as follows. The object is always placed to the left of the mirror. So this implies that the light from the object falls on the mirror from the left hand side. So if you observe in the diagram, the object is always kept at left side and the mirror is always kept at right side, so that the incident light, you can see arrow mark there, the incident light is coming from left to right, that is incident light from that is coming from the object. Okay. All the distances parallel to principal axis are measured from the pole of the mirror. So pole we considered as origin. So all the distances must be measured from pole. The height above the principal axis should be measured as positive. Height below the principal axis downwards is negative. And distance in the opposite direction to the incident light is taken as negative. And distance along the incident light is taken as positive. Yeah, that's what just now whatever I said. All the distances measured to the right of the origin pole along the positive x-axis are taken as positive, while those measured to the left of the origin pole are taken as negative. Distances measured perpendicular to and above the principal axis along positive y-axis, so are taken as positive. Distances measured perpendicular to and below the principal axis along the negative y-axis are taken as negative. The sign conventions are applied to obtain the mirror formula and solve numerical problems. We'll see the mirror formula in the next slide. Next, we'll see mirror formula. Of course, we can derive the formula, but derivation is not there for your syllabus. We are restricted only to use the formula directly. It is given in your book. So as of now, we will not worry about that. We will just have to follow the formula, use that for solving the problems. Derivations and all you may learn in your higher classes in 11th or 12th. Okay, that too for a competitive level. In a spherical mirror, the distance of the object from its pole is called as object distance. Okay, the distance of the image from the pole of the mirror is called as image distance. So the distance from pole to object is called object distance. The distance from pole to image is called image distance. The distance from the pole to principal focus is called as focal length. We already know this, right? So all the distance we are giving one name. So the distance from the pole to object is object distance. Distance from object pole to image is image distance. Distance from pole to principal focus is focal length. Distance from pole to center of curvature is called radius of curvature. There is a relation between these three quantities given by the mirror formula as expressed here. So here we have not mentioned about the radius of curvature, but just I told you. But here in this formula we have connected only u, v and f. So what is u means? The object distance is denoted by letter u and image distance is denoted by letter v. So and focal length is denoted by letter f. So I have mentioned here they are all small letters, and so mirror formula is given as like this. So 1 by u plus 1 by v is equal to 1 by f. So this is the formula. You have to remember this as of now. So we don't have a derivation for your syllabus. Just remember the formula, use it for the problem solving as well as formula usage. Okay. So this formula is valid in all situations for all the spherical mirrors for all positions of the object. So this is called as mirror formula. There are two mirrors we have, that is concave and convex mirror. Let it be any case, any image formation, wherever may be the object, you can apply this formula. So you need not worry about number of formulas. Just this formula you remember. This is for mirrors, whether it is convex mirror or concave mirror. You need not worry. You can use the same formula, but you have to keep in mind about the sign conventions that we will get to know once we solve few numericals. Okay. We must use the new Cartesian sign convention while substituting numericals value for u, v and f and r in the mirror formula for solving the problems. Anyway, r is not mentioned here, but if at all, if any case, if radius of curvature is given, you want to find the focal length, that is, we have a relation r is equal to 2f. So that time you can utilize r also. Okay. So that's about the mirror formula. Now we will see magnification. So the word itself says that magnifying in the sense increasing the size of the object, that is called as magnification. Okay. So magnifying the image object and giving the larger image, that is called as magnification. So magnification produced by spherical mirrors gives the relative extent to which the image of an object is magnified with respect to the object size. With respect to object size, how much it is increased, how big is the image, that relation is actually called as magnification here. It is expressed as the ratio of height of the image to the height of the object. So if we take the ratio, if at all if it is greater than 1, then we can think that here height of the object when it is comparable, if it is the numerator is, here you have to use little mathematics knowledge. If the numerator is smaller when compared to denominator, then the value will come less than 1, right? Then we can say the magnification is less than 1. So magnification less than 1 means the object size, image size is decreased. If the value is equal, suppose if the height of the object and height of the image is same, then the magnification is 1. That means it is not magnified, it is giving the same size of object, same size image as that of the object. But if at all if it is greater than 1, if the numerator is greater than the denominator, then we will get value more than 1. That means it is magnified. How much magnified, that we will get by measuring the height of the image and height of the object. It is represented usually by letter m. So we'll give the formula here. If h is the height of the object and h dash is the height of the image, then the magnification m produced by a spherical mirror is given by m is equal to height of the image h dash by height of the object h. So here it is written in the full form, but in simpler way you can write like this: m is equal to h dash by h. But you have to remember that h dash is height of the image and h is height of the object. This magnification m is also related to the object distance and image distance. So we all have studied, we have studied the image formation. So as the object comes near to the mirror, the size also varies. So that we can relate magnification to the object distance and image distance here. Okay, so magnification m is equal to h dash by h. That we can prove it as minus v by u. Okay, so magnification also has one more formula, that is minus v by u. Okay, you may also note that the height of the object is taken to be positive and that of the object is usually placed above the principal axis, so that we will take the height of the object as positive. The height of the image should be taken as positive for virtual images. Virtual images usually form above the principal axis, so therefore that you have to take it as positive. However, it should be taken as negative for real images. So real images will actually form below the principal axis, inverted images will form. So we have to take negative sign for the real images. And I think you already have an idea what is real image and virtual images. Real images are the images which we can catch on the screen, and virtual images we cannot catch on the screen. The negative sign of the value of the magnification indicates the image is real. So if at all if you get magnification as negative, then you can decide that the image formed is real. So you need not know about the image formation and all. Just by seeing the value of the magnification, you can decide whether it is a real image or virtual image. Okay, so that is very handy for us. We can easily check whether an image formed is real or virtual. The positive sign of the value of the magnification indicates that the image is virtual, as just in the previous point I told. If it is negative, it is taken as real object, real image. If it is positive, we will take it as virtual image. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Let us see ray diagrams for lens in the next class. Same way how we learned ray diagrams for mirrors, for lens also we have image formation and ray diagrams that we learn in the next class. Thank you.